I'm on a real live studio lot in Atlanta, Georgia right now. How cool. I know I shouldn't have been late, but come on guys, you gonna do this to me? Seriously? Oh, here we go. Hello. Checking in for the event? The greenhouse event? Huh?
No, you didn't say greenhouse.
Oh, greenhouse, yes.
Okay, put one of these in the
And keep the other one on me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if they want you guys to do that. Just hold on to it.
Okay, got it. I'm gonna put it in my purse.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're gonna go straight to the back. Stay to the right of the street line.
Mm-hmm.
And see stage 7 on the left. Now, there's a lot of vehicles parked alongside stage 7. If you can't park there on that side, just go to the opposite side.
Okay, thank you.
What have you been up to?
Working my day job and auditioning and let's see, what else? That's kind of it. I'm starting a YouTube, which is why I have my camera here. Well, I already started this.
Yeah.
So I want to vlog more.
Okay. Cool.
Get into the scene.
Yeah.
To make it happen.
Cool. How'd you get connected with the greenhouse?
I actually got an email. So a group that I'm in, they told us about it, and I came one time and I signed up for the email list. And
Okay.
I've been coming ever since.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. How about you?
So the school that I went to in California, Shenley was my media law professor.
Oh.
So I actually did something with them when out in LA when I was out there for school, and then.
Our real goal is to help build community, bring entertainment professionals together, find ways to work on projects together, workshops, learning experiences, and just having people that are speaking the same language from the same tribe. As you guys know, sometimes being here in the entertainment industry, maybe it's just me, but it can feel a little lonely sometimes. Like, I'm the only person doing this, and I'm scrounging for jobs and nobody's here to help me. And so we really wanted to create an environment that's not the case. Like, for the next 2 hours while you're here, don't worry about your own career. We'll worry about that for you. You focus in on helping somebody else out. We feel like very strongly that your value in the entertainment industry is proportionate to your ability to solve other people's problems. If you can find ways to take whatever giftings, whatever talents you have, whatever resources you have and help somebody else, they're going to be helping you, and all ships rise together. So with that in mind, I do want to introduce Stephanie Purcell. Stephanie is our local chapter director for the Greenhouse here in Atlanta. She used to be out in LA, and then she abandoned me. And she and her husband moved out here, and she called me up within just a short amount of time and said, hey, we need to have a greenhouse in Atlanta. And I said, yeah, I think you're right. And so everybody give it up for Stephanie. Yeah. Here. I'm going to eat my cookie.
Yeah, eat your cookie. So we started here in Atlanta, and we've been here about a year or so now, just slowly growing and getting together, and we've got a couple different programs that we offer.
This is something that Stephanie will not tell you, but you should know that just a couple months ago, she won her very first Emmy.
Woo!
Everybody give it up for Shadowbox Studios that provided this wonderful soundstage, this half expected to see a jet in here at some point, and I suppose that could still happen, and I wouldn't even know it when it showed up. This place is great, so we love the guys here at Shadowbox. They've been so kind to us, and they did all the setup, and if you have any projects, make sure you check these guys out, okay? All right, with that said, I want to introduce our speaker for tonight. She has a long, storied history in the entertainment industry and has done a ton of stuff, starting with lighting and electric and moving all the way up to directing. She's directed for a number of different shows, including Sweet Magnolias on Netflix. Any Magnolia fans?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And Roswell, and she's going to tell us a bunch of it. Everybody give it up for Lauren Petzke. Hello.
Thank you for having me.
This is going to be a real exercise here.
I mean, the other thing, do we need the mics?
I don't know. Do you need us to have, you're recording this.
No, it's fine.
Okay, all right. Forget the
Don't pick it
mics. Is that okay? All right, we'll turn them on.
I can project.
You can project?
I'll try.
Do you have a background in theater?
I do.
Really?
Strange of you to ask.
Really? How did you get started in the industry, going all the way back to theater?
Back to theater. So I'm from Austin, Texas, and I used to do theater in middle school and elementary school. I was in acting classes. I loved it, and I was going to be on Broadway. That was my dream.
Okay.
I did not achieve that one. That's okay.
Yet.
I mean,
Or does that go on?
I'm kind of okay with it. Maybe
Okay,
directing there someday, but no, I've always had a huge love for theater, and so I went to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy in New York.
Yeah.
It was a 2-year conservatory, so I did the conservatory, and then I was acting in theater productions. And I left New York. I moved to San Diego. I was doing theater productions there, and then I started acting in small films and just volunteering. So I was like, I don't know, what is this? I guess it pays more if you can get the work.
Yeah, right.
But I just tried it out. I wanted to act more, and I became very fascinated with what people were doing behind the camera.
Yeah.
I was very familiar with stage crew, and I had worked some stage crew, and I always enjoyed that. And so this was a whole different world.
Sometimes people feel like they get locked into something, and they can't shift either their dreams or just trying other things. What's your advice to people just to expand, since you started in acting and moved on to other things?
Just say yes. Like, I said yes to a lot of things. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't know when I first decided to break up with acting. I did. I had a full breakup with acting on a park bench.
Did
in
you
Central
write like
Park.
a note to your
No,
parent?
I just had I was just sobbing on a park bench, like, I can't do that. It was very dramatic.
That's me every other day.
Yeah, exactly. No more. So when I did that, though, I was like, now what? And what do I do? And I don't know where to go, and I don't know about this film business thing. Like,
Right.
It seems cool, and I just tried. I just started with, who do I know? My parents were living in Santa Fe, New Mexico at the time,
Okay.
and we had a family friend who was a key grip. Well, I think he was a dolly grip at the time, but I knew that if I moved there, I could live more cheaply, and I could just sort of fumble around and try to get in. New Mexico is really busy, just like Atlanta is. And so it was easier to get in and break in. And I was trying to get jobs as a PA. I was basically willing to do anything, but I knew I wanted to do either camera or grip or electric so that I could learn the technical.
Yeah.
And I said yes to a lot of things. I said yes to little indies, volunteer work. I was like, I will do anything. I mean, please don't put me in hair and makeup because I'd be terrible at that. But I will
Within
just
reason.
do anything. Like I did. I remember getting on my first union set by doing craft service.
Yeah.
You know, I just said yes, and started just trying different things. I ended up falling into the electric department. So I did set lighting and I did rigging, and I ended up really enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot, and because New Mexico was so busy, I got to work on some really cool films like Cowboys and Aliens and The Avengers and True Grit and working.
So small stuff.
Yeah, little tiny things.
Yeah, okay.
Things that now I'm like, oh, remember when I used to work on big movies? That was so fun. But I mean, in a different capacity.
Right.
It was, I learned a ton. I met a ton of people, and then I decided to make a short film because I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I need to try things.
Right.
And so I always say, you never know which door is going to open and where, and so I was just trying them all.
Right. So just being open to anything.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Saying yes, and then when I got the opportunity, doing the absolute best I could at everything and just throwing myself in 110%.
Yes.
When I was in the position where I was hiring directors, and I said to a showrunner, hey, this person on our crew is interested in directing. I like this person. I watched their short film, and I thought it showed a lot of potential.
Yeah.
Is this something where you would consider this person maybe for this season or next season? And the showrunner said, they are not very good at the job that they are currently doing. I can't give that person an opportunity. They
Right.
can't do the job that they're supposed to be good at.
Right, right.
And it really struck me because, and not in a negative way, I couldn't argue with that, but it's just like I see people all the time. I see the PA a friend of mine who was a PA and wanted to be in the camera department. And she worked so hard as a PA, and every chance she got, I remember seeing her by the camera, talking to the camera people. And half the time she was on a lockup super far away, but she was always, she was doing her job, and she was doing it well, and she was great to be around.
Yeah.
And now she's a first AC.
Right.
And it didn't take her all that long because she just proved herself in whatever she did.
Yeah, right. So being excellent in the small things ends up translating.
Yeah.
Certain personalities lend themselves really well to being an actor. Loud, boisterous, in your face. Won't shut up.
Wow, this guy.
I say it as an actor, so
I know
what is it? What are the attributes or the personality traits or strengths that lend themselves well to directing?
Well, I would say, it sounds like a two-part question. So
Sure.
I'm going to go kind of with, first, I don't know why I wanted to direct exactly. I just thought, okay, I love storytelling. I love the acting part of it. And then I feel like working with actors, but then, being more a part of the narrative, like overseeing the full narrative rather than being one piece of it,
Right.
was really interesting to me. But I thought maybe that was producing. And so I just tried making a short film. I thought, no one's ever going to hire me to direct if I've never directed.
Right.
And also, I don't even know if I want this, and it's going to be a long, hard road.
Yeah.
And I was hooked as soon as I tried it.
From the producing side or from the directing side?
Directing
Directing side, okay.
I enjoyed producing.
Yeah.
I've done it a lot. I enjoy directing more, especially as a guest director when I go in and they're like, oh my God, this thing is going wrong and this person is having this issue. I'm like, oh wow, that is such a bummer for you to have to deal with. See ya.
Let me know when you get that sorted out.
Yep.
Just in case there's any newbies in the room, which is totally cool, by the way. Just understanding what each role does is so important. What's the difference between a producer and a director?
Very big difference. But you also have producing directors, I
That's
will
true,
say.
yeah.
Producers, I think, are, and it depends on which kind of producer you are, too.
Right,
Because
yeah.
you have creative producers, you have the line producers, you have people that deal with the money side of things. But they're basically, they are the little, like, the mini CEOs of these little mini companies that everyone starts out. They are hiring, they're responsible for the team, they're responsible for the money, they're responsible for making sure, in an ideal world, that the money is well spent, that you have the equipment you need, you have the personnel that you need, and everything's running smoothly, and so that all the money that you are given can be put on screen and utilized to the best of its ability. In a way, directing, I'm still trying to make sure that we put our resources to the best use possible. But I'm definitely I'm on set, I'm directing the actors, blocking,
Right.
camera work, working with the crew. I go through at least on episodic, it's usually 7 or 8 days of prep that I get with the script, and then 7, 8, 9 days of shoot, depending on the show. What qualities you think for a good director? I feel at the peak of it is you need to be an effective communicator and team leader. Filmmaking is a team sport.
Yeah.
It is, especially television. You can't do it by yourself. You need a good team, and that team needs to feel supported. Your actors need to feel safe. People need to know that you have a plan and that you are going to take them through this episode, this film, whatever it is. And so the more trust you gain with your team, the better. And really, communicating is so key. You have to deal with so many different personalities. You want them to bring their best and their best ideas, but you also need them to do what you tell them to do,
Right.
effectively. So, because at the end of the day, the director is, to me, the keeper of the story.
Right.
Like every decision that I make at work needs to serve the script that I was given. It needs to serve the show and what the showrunner wants us to be and what I feel it needs to be.
Yeah.
And so I have to tell everybody
Yeah.
what that vision is, what the showrunner wants. I mean, down to how big to make this prop that we have to do, or like this lava monster needs to be able to see out of those eyes. Do they light up? Like all these things, like
All the stuff you dreamed about asking when you were a
yes,
kid.
exactly. Like, so
lava monster,
Can
yeah.
the lava monster speak? And then how does he illuminate? Does he turn off? Is that all visual effects or is that special effects?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
I have to know what I want the episode to look like. Some of my mentors, there's a really great book by Bethany Rooney and Mary Lou Belli, and for some reason I'm really spacing on the name of the book, but I know who wrote it.
I bet it's good, though.
It's really good from a technical point of view, but one of their techniques that they laid out is called the paper edit. So I go through and like my shot is, okay, master is shot A or shot 1, coverage is shot 2,
Yeah.
just for basics. And then I look through the scene and I go, okay, I think here's my opening shot. And now I'm gonna cut to this shot right at about this line. Okay, and then I need this, I wanna see that. Okay, I'm gonna need to see this prop, so we need this shot. And so I literally can write down 1, 5, 2, 4 throughout the scene. I don't have to physically write that anymore because I've practiced it enough,
Right.
but it is that thing where you have to know where you're going,
Right.
and that's the edit room. Now in episodic, of course, I get 1 cut, although yay, new contract, I think I get to get a second pass now,
Oh,
depending
nice.
on the
Okay.
budget.
Nice.
But it is an interesting thing where you turn in your director's cut, and that's it.
It's out of your hands.
It's out of my hands.
Yeah.
Totally.
Is that a terrifying feeling? I know as a writer, I feel that way when I've done the script and I'm handing it over to the producer and I realize it's like, there goes my baby.
Bye.
It's
Yeah.
been nice knowing you.
It's less terrifying the more I do it. It's more terrifying in the sense that I'm still that kid going, oh, I hope they like it. Oh,
Right.
please,
Right.
Because you find these ways to work them in, right? Because it is TV, and sometimes
Yeah.
it runs long. Sometimes they've overwritten an episode and they're going to cut, or sometimes it was too short, or sometimes they change a storyline, and you had nothing to do with that. But the footage you gave them was for that
Right.
episode. So I feel like there's one director, Glenn Winter, who's insanely good at this, and I aspire to be as insanely good as he is. But making sure that they need to use every shot
Right.
for whatever reason, and it's sort of hard to describe, but really making sure that you don't have any excess in there, or like your beautiful crane shot is one that they're not going to cut out because there's
Right.
actors talking or something, there's some piece of information that they need to tell the story,
Yeah.
and it's in that shot,
Yeah.
or the way that you do that, or that a shot doesn't take too long.
Right.
If you have this long, beautiful opening shot where no one's talking, I'm like, well, that's gone.
Okay.
I love working with actors. I can have the best time just like with a really great scene, whether it's comedy, drama, whatever it is, when you have actors that are in their zone and it's a great scene and you're just rolling. Like I've actually gotten myself into trouble time-wise because I was like working with an actor and everything she did was so fun, and I was like, oh my God, let's play. Like I just want to play with a different thing.
Yes.
Let's try it this way. Let's try that way, And it was a newer show, so we were finding things. and finding character, and that was a blast. Or deeply emotional scenes, awesome.
What can writers do to make the director's job easier?
Write to your budget. I'm not kidding.
Absolutely, yeah.
Write to the budget and the time that you have.
Yeah.
And most of the time, by the time it lands in front of me, it's at least mostly producible. It's not always.
Really?
In fact, most times, we're cutting things.
Really?
Yes.
Out of necessity, not out of spite.
Not because I don't want to do it. Trust
Right.
me, I get that script and I'm like, well, that sounds like fun, but I know the budget of this show and
Right.
I don't know that that's going to happen.
Right.
And so now that's a big, it's much bigger than the director,
Yeah.
right? That kind of situation. It's just, I think that is a big thing, because what ends up happening, obviously, is that then we are in a situation where we're prepping all this stuff, and when the budgets come in, suddenly there's cuts to be made, and then we've spent a lot of time prepping things that I knew we were never going to shoot, and that's very frustrating.
Right.
It's very frustrating to have a schedule where I can't do very good work each day, because there are way too many things to shoot and way too many details. Like the minute you add more than 2 people to a scene, it takes more time. The minute you add business, props, this, that, obviously stunts, visual
of course,
effects. We all
right.
know those things. Actually,
Right.
visual effects are a lot of times the easiest. But if you do effects practically, it's special effects, then it does take more time. Every time you want to do a spark hit, there's a reset.
Right.
Well, it looks better if you do it practically.
Right,
I'd love to
right.
do it practically. I would love to do the stunt sequence exactly as you imagine it. But sometimes just being able to simplify the story and to know what is absolutely essential to the story,
Right.
I think that is key for writers and directors. Like, you got to know what is essential. What's the icing, what's the cake?
Right.
As a guest director, how much input do you have in casting the guest stars or the co-stars for that episode?
Well, I'm supposed to have quite a lot. Most of the time I do. Now, if it is just for the one episode, like say I'm booked for one episode and I have guest stars that are just coming in that episode, I have quite a lot of say. Usually the showrunner is weighing in, of course, too. And it's usually showrunner, director, any sort of creative producers, and the casting director will also too sort of put their 2 cents in of who they feel strongly about. And it's great to know their perspective as well, because a lot of times they're familiar with the actor's work beyond what we've just seen. I would say I have a heavy hand in it, but usually the showrunner probably has the final say, even though I think technically with the DGA's creative rights, they're probably not supposed to, but unless I feel like their choice, if there's a conflict, a lot of times everyone's in agreement, it's pretty easy. But if there's a conflict, unless I feel like it's really going to be a problem on set, I will acquiesce to the showrunner and what they want, and especially as you get into recurring roles. Now, if it's something like a series regular, I'm really pretty outside the loop on that. I might be in the loop, shall we say, but I'm not really going to have a hand in that, and that becomes the whole thing with the showrunner, the studio, the network. Like, there's approvals up the wazoo for those things. And even for the one-day guest stars or the co-stars, there are studio and network approvals. We almost never get kickback, but every once in a while, you get some exec that's like, nope, not feeling it. You're like, wow, really? Okay. But, yeah.
What would you say is your style or signature, and how you bring it to any episode or a feature, and how does that play out with already something that's running and you're a guest director, or with the studios and how they react to that? So basically, like, do you have it in your contract that there needs to be a chimp in one of the shots, or like what is like?
I will now.
It's in the writer, huh?
What have you figured out to be your own style?
I think something I do adjust to each series, to each episode, to each storyline, certainly. But the things that I tend to veer to are like, I love long, steady cam shots. I love interconnecting people and a lot of fluid movement. So I would say my style tends to be more elegant and feminine. Like I wouldn't naturally tend to go like very Guy Ritchie or, you know, like hardcore masculine energy, you know, and that's great. Some people go that way, some people don't.
After seeing your IMDb, I was like so inspired and fascinated with it because like honestly, I found a connection with Gotham Knights, but I seen that you did so many shorts. So I was able to do a Poison Pill, Elizabeth Henstridge, and I saw that you did an episode on Gotham Knights.
Oh yeah.
But the cool thing is that like I've seen short, and then I saw TV shows. And I was like, usually I thought it would be, you know, you have to get a feature under your belt to be able to jump to TV. But like, would you have any advice from jumping from shorts to TV?
Well, yes. Great question. Part of how I was able to get into television episodes is because that's where I was working. So I was an electrician, but then I started working as an assistant. So I was assisting directors, producers, all that, and just trying to learn. And then after I got a lot of experience in that, I started producing for Julie Plec, where I was doing development and producing all the whole myriad of things there. But where I have seen people do this is, and it's not just me, like people who work on a longer running show, I've seen it happen with script supervisors, DPs, ADs. There's a woman who, Stacey K. Black, who was a hair person. She was department head hair. And the reason, so if you take that, where you're making those relationships with the people who can hire you, it's also, it's a little bit easier for someone to take a chance on you with an episode versus a feature in a way, because the episodic structure, especially going into second, third, fourth seasons, like they are a machine. They can withstand a greener director, because the DP can help you make up for it, the AD. And I'm not saying that you should rely on that, but
It's there.
People feel more comfortable with that. But the shorts, what the shorts does is it actually shows that you want to direct. And for me, it was the thing that convinced my boss to give me a chance. You know, if I hadn't been making those shorts, I don't think she would have given me an episode. Right. But I made so many, and even the one, not the last one I did, but the second to last one, I had shown it to her. And eventually she admitted to me she didn't like it. She did, you know, because it was after I'd shown her the very last short I did, which she was very impressed with, and said, you know, now I feel like you're ready for this. And she really enjoyed it. She felt like it spoke to being able to direct television. But there was something about the one before that she just didn't connect with. She didn't love it. And I was like, okay, well, honesty. All right, sure. You know, so I think the combination of building those relationships plus putting in the work helped me get that opportunity, basically.
I actually worked with you on Legacies and Sweet Magnolia.
Oh, hey!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I did season 2 of it.
Remind me your name again.
Ricky. I was one of the backgrounds.
Oh, nice.
Not as fascinated, but yeah.
Sorry, I'm usually running around like a crazy person.
Yeah. Mine's more of a compliment and a question. I'm also, when I worked with you on Sweet Magnolia last season, your set was like the best, like honestly, like I felt safe, and I was like, you felt more like the crew, and like you felt like part of them, like everything with Bennett and everything. I loved it. That's why I'm saying I was like, dang, I kind of like being here. I want to keep coming back. But yeah, and I'm also union, and I'm starting to get like, it kind of touched me when you said like you jumped around, so just take any risk to keep going to where you want to be. It's like, is that because it's like, did you prepare on the off times when you didn't work as much as local, or like?
Yeah, I mean, prepare.
Like, because I don't have like a lot of the experience, but I did like construction, I did background, I did everything I could to just be in front of the camera. Is there like a pathway or like?
Well, I mean, I think what you're doing sounds like you're already on the right path, and I would say is the goal acting?
Yeah.
So then I would say the other big things is to make sure that you are training, taking classes all the time, and getting representation helps, getting it with casting directors. I don't know if just since I'm not in the acting scene as much here, I don't know if people do casting director showcases. Yeah. Here, do they? Mm-hmm. Okay. So doing showcases, things like that, doing local theater if you can. Anything I think is actors. It is very frustrating, right? Because it's very hard to. You have to get the audition, then you have to get the role in order to act on screen or to act on stage. It is very hard to recreate that experience for yourself unless you produce something Because you can always like link up with somebody and produce a short, right? Or produce a small theater thing in a black box. But that also requires a lot of time and effort, which is never a bad thing. But in the interim, what's so nice is you can always be training. You can take classes, you can study, you can go see theater, things like that. So I think the combination of getting that set experience, the other thing you could look at is trying to get on as a stand-in, because that is helpful, I think, with both the relationships that you make, right? Because I've known plenty of stand-ins who, they're just great at their job, they become part of the crew, and then sometime when a role comes up, a small role, it's like, oh, we know who to get that to.
Last question. This is something we ask everybody that we interview at the Greenhouse, both here in Atlanta and in LA. What is the most important thing a creative professional needs to know?
I'm going to kind of bring it back to Ted Lasso a little, and I think be kind and be respectful.
Yeah.
You can get a lot done with that.
That's a fact. Enough said. Everybody give it up for Lauren Petzke. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. You've got some good stuff. Send it to us.
I want to get some footage of everybody chatting.
Yeah, so are you taking a video?
Thank you so much for it's going to be on my social media.
How did we just like find?
Yes, you?
Same, yeah, actor. Monet rocks.
Yes!
Did you have a good time?
Did you have a good time? Was this your first one?
No, this is my second one.
Oh, this is my second one too.
Let's go, yeah. I should have attended so many of these just because it's such a good
Well, I would definitely.
event and you get to like meet people just
Yeah.
everywhere who are in the business. And you just don't see them on outside, just walking around, you know?
No, literally. And I would like to be, even though we're not doing anything in here right now, the fact that we even get to be in this space to me is so cool because I don't know about you all, but I have never, I haven't been on a set in Atlanta yet, or on a studio lot and
Did you move?
soundstage. I did, but we didn't go. We weren't on a soundstage.
Oh.
When
Did
I
you
went.
move here recently?
No, I've been here since 2019.
Gotcha.
So I went to one at Trillis, but we weren't on a soundstage. We were in a meeting space.
Well, yeah, I'm not meeting space, but have you ever seen the virtual reality experience thing that they had? They had a convention here. Yes, there was a Cine Expo, like cinema, I think, Cine Expo. And a lot of people, vendors from all over America came to showcase their cameras and their mics and their lights and their fog machines and their props.
So cool.
And I went to that, and part of the thing was that you get to go into this, it was as big as this one. What is it called? Not virtual reality, it's a virtual production.
Virtual, yeah, I know what you're talking about. The LED
Instead of having a green
walls.
screen,
Yes.
it's like, I have it in my highlights section. Do I have it in my highlights? Because I can show it to you.
Yeah,
but
that would be
virtual
cool.
production is awesome. And they give us a full demo. And then like I got to sit in front of it and try out the camera coming at me. This is the guy with the camera. And then I asked him to stew in the back end because like I'm a coder, so I got
Awesome.
That is so cool.
show you Yola. Okay, here we go.
I'm gonna go see this in person.
Virtual production.
I'm on a studio lot. I'm on a real live studio lot in Atlanta, Georgia right now. How cool. All right, see ya. Bye, friend. I had to get some video. Actually, I think I want it to be over here. I'm talking Spanish. I'm talking Spanish.
know, this is a closed set.
Oh, is it? Oh. Oh, I was
They
like,
don't like doing it.
oh yeah, okay. Do I need to give this back to you? Both of them or just that one? I do want to keep it. Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Monet Hayslett. It's spelled like Mona, but it's Monet. And you just came with me to an acting event in Atlanta. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. The Greenhouse Studio in Atlanta, Georgia. It featured a guest speaker, Lauren Petzke, but it was such an amazing event. I met so many great people. It was very intimate. The vibe was right. It was like perfect. The attendees of the event, everyone seemed really cool and open to like just talk and get to know each other. Nothing felt forced. It was very cool just being in that space, and I just felt like I just had a moment where I'm like, I'm manifesting the next time I'm on a big lot, I'm gonna be working. One day I'm gonna be on a lot and I'm gonna be working. See ya as an actress. A leading actress. So I'm really excited to get back into the flow of things and to start vlogging my journey again, and to really dive into the questions that people may have about the Atlanta acting scene. And I'm looking forward to sharing that journey with you all. I hope you learned something, and yeah.
Say it again?
I said I got you on camera for my vlog real quick.
Okay, all right, cool.
It's a part of my day.